It is now time to experience the buzz, a podcast that takes an inside look at amazing people doing amazing things. Get ready for some great conversation that will be fascinating, educational, and inspiring. We will also leave room to help small businesses in a big way. Now, here's your host, entrepreneur Steve Buzzard.
Hey everyone, welcome in. It's another edition of Experience the Buzz. I'm your host, Steve Buzzard. So glad to be with you. This is episode number 118, and today, tonight, this week, whenever you're listening to this, we're very excited because the Sacramento Kings have made the playoffs. That's right. For the first time in 16 years, they have made the playoffs, and guess what? That's what we're highlighting, and some other sports stories. That's because I am bringing in my son, Max Buzzard, for this week's episode. He is one of the Banter Bros, but more importantly, he's my son. And so we are going to bounce off each other. We're going to talk about Sacramento Kings and what a storied season it's been. We're also going to talk about Major League Baseball, which has opening day coming your way. And then we're going to finish off talking about the NCAA Final Four, our NCAA Final Four. There we go. And then finish out with the Masters, right? So we're just going to cover some sports topics. So if you like sports, you are in exactly the right place. We do this kind of every now and then, and it's a lot of fun and, of course, very timely. But right now it's time for What's the Buzz? And so what I wanted to do in the What's the Buzz segment is, we're at 118. That means we have talked to a lot of guests. So I had this idea to say, you know what? Let's start bringing back some of the guests that have been on the show. So we are thinking about doing follow-up episodes, and those are going to be coming your way pretty soon. We are working on those. But in the meantime, what we're going to do is we're going to put links on both the audio and video side for you to go back and check out the conversations. When I did these conversations, yes, they may have been 2 years ago or so, but they still are timely because for each conversation, it's about the person's story. So the two I wanted to highlight, and you take your choice. You can listen to one or the other, or you can listen to both. I just call it a binge. It's a nice binge when you are in your car or maybe at home. Tim Collum was our very first guest. You may know him from House Real Estate. That's right. And he's one of the top real estate agents in Sacramento. He's also a very well-known artist. His story is in episode 3, okay? Although that's the first interview that I did. First episode was the trailer, and the second episode was my entrepreneur journey. Of course, you can check those out as well. And then our next guest is a guy that's celebrating the Sacramento Kings victory, Jason Ross. That's right. He's been with the team, I believe, almost 30 years now. Works at Sports 1140 KHTK. And of course, we worked together for many years, have a great friendship that is still running to this day. So you can check out Tim Collum or Jason Ross. Now, let's go ahead and get to our show. It's banter time, and I love being able to talk sports with a format like this. Like I did it for 14 years, and then obviously kind of weaned my way out of the radio world and into teaching and my entrepreneur journey with my basketball camps and basketball league and being a DJ and being an auctioneer and now being a podcaster and a grandfather to throw in there. And so it's so nice to be able to come back and have this opportunity, and especially when I get one of my boys to be able to talk sports, and that's exactly what we do. So as promised, we're going to kick it off with some action, some big action. The Sacramento Kings making the playoffs. Enjoy the conversation. All right, let's get right to it. We are having some fun, and it is episode number 118, as you heard in the intro. And yes, we are talking sports. That's right. It's one of the Banter Bros. It's my son, Max Buzzard. And tonight, a very special night. We're talking sports, and of course, we're going to lead off with the Sacramento Kings. I'll let you deliver the news. What happened tonight?
We clinched playoffs.
Yes.
First time.
First time in 16 years, and this is pretty exciting. It hasn't happened since the 2005-2006 season, which is hard to believe. I obviously have some history with the Sacramento Kings. Got to enjoy working for them during what I call the glory years. But I think the glory years are returning in a different way. And so tonight, they take care of business. They take out Portland. And we wanted to watch the game. We wanted to experience the game and then experience the post game before we came on and recorded. But I just have to ask you, how do you feel about this?
I mean, it's a great feeling. It's just a great feeling, Just feels good. Sacramento. I think that was the the sentiment, you know, in the post game is it's basketball, but the city itself, it's so deserving. The city is so different when the Kings are good, you know, and that could be really big for the city of Sacramento. So it's awesome. No need to be embarrassed anymore. Just no need.
Well, this is what's crazy to me, because last year they won 30 games. They came into this year, and if you were to go bet on the Kings on how many wins they would get, I think they were at 33. Is that correct?
33 and a half. Yeah.
33 and a half. So with the acquisition of Mike Brown and Sabonis coming onto the roster, the bookie, the bettors thought they would be 3.5 games better. And yet here they are at 45 wins with just a
46 now.
Yeah, 46 with a handful of games to go. They might even get to 50. So not only are they just going to get into the play-in game, which was the expectation this year, like this is beyond what we could have ever dreamed of. And I think that's what's amplified all this excitement in the city.
Yeah, I mean, they're pretty much locked into the number 3 seed in the Western Conference. That guarantees home court advantage. So as brutal as it might be to match up against a team like the Golden State Warriors,
Might happen.
you have home court, and that's where you make a name for yourself. And I'm sure that is what Mike Brown is telling the team. Don't worry about who it is. The Warriors have a record of 9-29 on the road this season. It's hard to believe that could be a fluke. You know they're going to put in extra gear. They're going to turn on to something else because it's them. They've won 4 titles.
Right.
Steve Kerr, you know, he knows that those guys will be ready. But there is something to be made of what the Sacramento Kings have done this year. It shouldn't be looked past. It shouldn't just be a cute story. I think that's what they're going to try to prove. So let's just let it ride. You know?
I believe that. Here's the deal. The victory has already taken place. That's what I believe. This season is already a win. I think anything that happens from this point forward is gravy, because what I'm looking at is the big picture. Like we talk about windows in sports. Well, guess what? The door has just opened very wide because this is going to be a team that's going to be good for many years. And I believe it starts with Mike Brown, right?
Yeah.
Can we say that, you know, you could go with Sabonis and Fox as the MVP, but to me, Mike Brown and the culture that he brought to the Sacramento Kings has been the difference maker.
Yeah, I didn't think it was possible. Just because we've had assistant coaches from winning organizations. Mm-hmm. Luke Walton was from the Warriors after they had won. I was just like, and we had every right to have hesitation for this hire, you know? But it was something different. I think it's Mike Brown individually, his drive to want to be the best, and he has incredible assistant coaches. He talks constantly about his love for the Vivek and Matina and Monty McNair. It's wild. It's something we haven't experienced since Rick Adelman. Okay, we've had coaches like Mike Malone, Dave Yeager, who I personally loved, but clearly there was a disconnect between owner and coach.
Yep.
And you saw that with them getting fired, or else they wouldn't have gotten fired.
Right.
Mike Brown is going to be around for a decade. This is a winning coach. They're already in the playoffs. 16-game improvement with 6 left in the year. I don't know. I mean, I just remember the feeling I had. I was young, but I remember seeing Rick Adelman come out, and I'm like, he can manage the game.
Yes.
He will get us into a spot where we can win. If you have refs that are getting paid to have calls for the Lakers, and then they go to jail, that's something out of your control. But Rick Adelman knew what to do, and Mike Brown hopefully won't have to deal with that stuff. But it's incredible.
Okay, so let's talk about that, because that bridges into the fact of, Mike Brown being the catalyst, changing the culture, and then you can start with any player. I do want to mention that, a record was broken tonight, and I don't think people really understand the importance of Keegan Murray and what he has been to the Sacramento Kings. It has turned out to be a diamond of a pick for the Sacramento Kings. And the fact that not only he broke the record, but the guy he beat, Donovan Mitchell, it's like it's not even a comparison when you look at the overall numbers.
Yeah, the efficiency, incredible. Keegan Murray, close to 100 less attempts from three.
Wow.
And he passed him tonight. He's shooting 41% from three-point range. That is remarkable. He shot 29% from three in his college career. So it was a thing that I had no idea. I don't think anyone really knew how locked in Keegan was going to be this season, except for the coaching staff, except for Keegan Murray. He knew. He said he put in the work immediately once his college season ended. He knew he wanted to improve his three-point shot. And it's like, he's a rookie, and we are already in this position. You just think about what the Kings could become. De'Aaron Fox is 25. Sabonis is 26, I believe. And they are all-stars. That is ahead of schedule of so many other teams. And we are the third seed. Keegan Murray is going to be that guy that will be with this group the whole way. And who knows what we could add in the future. But honestly, let's just be so excited about right now.
Okay, so let me bring up another point. I think another big thing that was overlooked from this season was at the trading deadline, when the Kings did not make any moves. Yeah. And of course, everybody is going to get on that back of, oh man, they didn't make the big move. They didn't need to.
They didn't need to.
But that's hard to do.
The Dallas Mavericks added Kyrie Irving,
and look how that's going.
Out of the playoff picture.
Wow.
Out. The Suns got Kevin Durant, and that will most likely be a very huge addition. Obviously, KD is one of the greatest players to ever step foot on the court. But there's injuries, and that actually makes or breaks the team. If he gets hurt, the Suns are screwed.
Right.
So I just feel like the Kings they've found something. Clearly they must have a great staff that's helping with the players, keeping them healthy, because it's unreal. I mean, Sabonis broke his thumb, but he's still playing and almost averaging a triple-double. De'Aaron Fox has had his injuries, but that is what's going to happen. The hamstrings, he's so fast, it's going to happen. But he's going to be okay during the playoffs. It's unbelievable. The Kings got Kessler Edwards. That's all they got at the trade deadline. And he's actually proven to be valuable.
Right.
And who has done that? It's Mike Brown. And Monty McNair saying, why don't we take a flyer on a guy that could play some defense? Because we don't play defense. But you never know. Kessler Edwards could get a big stop on somebody in the playoffs, and that'll prove to be the difference. It's just, it's beautiful. I can't believe the organization is coherent, and it's strange because that is the thing it's been so awful and embarrassing, but it's not the case.
Not the case. And there's so many cogs in this wheel. As we reset here, we're kind of doing our Banter Bros version. It was overdue because there's so many things going on. So this was timely to be able to do this. I said there's so many cogs in the wheel, but the two that we have to focus on are definitely De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis. And you can start wherever you want, because what they have done to me has just been historic, because they have gone over the top in terms of what we ever expected. And what Sabonis has done is it's record breaking.
He's incredible.
It's incredible.
I mean, it's probably him and Jokic.
Yep.
The only guys that play this way
Yep.
in the NBA. There's no one else that plays like this. Jokic even has a better three-point shot, that's why he's going to win, a million MVPs. But Sabonis is so effective, and it felt like those types of players were going to be making their way, on the peripheral of the NBA landscape with all the 3-point shooting. But no, he's like a unicorn. He does so much more. He's just really strong, and it's incredible. He just gets people out of the way. I think refs don't know how to call fouls with him because they're so confused by his strength. And I know it bugs him, but he doesn't get a lot of technicals like Luka does. He can keep it composed, but he is so valuable. DeMarcus Cousins was a really good passer. We've had Sabonis, Chris Webber. The Kings have always had big men that can pass the ball. And Sabonis is that guy. And him and Fox, they just work, Yeah. They just really work together. Fox, honestly, in my opinion, might not be the most likable guy for some reason.
And I don't know why that is.
I don't know either, but it's changing.
Yes.
And I had a hard time with the Tyrese Halliburton stuff. I just felt like Fox wasn't buying in. But I think maybe that was the truth. He just wasn't buying in because he knew that for the team to be this good, he has to be that guy. He can't share that with someone else. And Tyrese is so good at what he does, he needs the ball a lot. De'Aaron needs it too. But Sabonis is the perfect person because he can give to Sabonis and Sabonis gives right back. And it's just complimentary basketball. Fox, I seriously love De'Aaron Fox. Like we said, you can't deny any emotions that anyone has about the Kings for the last 16 years. It's so valid to have anything, to be pissed off. And I think Matt Barnes said it. He said, they can get a little grumpy, those Kings fans. Rightfully so. But here we are, and all praise for our All-Stars. Those guys are some of the best players in the league.
Yeah, and let me say this about De'Aaron Fox. There's a couple of things that he does that I really like, and he's gotten really good at. The inside the paint jumpers where he can drive in and just step back, hit. His 3-point shooting has been good. Also the thing he does, I don't think people catch this, but he is the only player that consistently, when the ball gets thrown in from the backcourt, he lets it roll and he picks it up. And you're like, well, what's the big deal with that? That saves time. It saves time. And people don't realize it because he does it so many times, but I think it's such a unique quality that he has. And then his explosion to the basket has been phenomenal. So I'm loving everything about De'Aaron Fox, and I'm happy for him as well because obviously he stayed here. He's stuck. He could have went, but he was committed to the team. And I feel that way about everyone that is on this team. I feel the way about Sabonis. That trade ended up being a great trade. The Pacers benefited. We benefited. And when Sabonis got here, you could see it. His attitude was, I am all in.
I think he played he got the trade news. He flew to Sac and he played the first night.
Right.
And he said he just felt like he needed to do that. Players will sit out after a trade, and especially you're coming to the Kings, they're not in the playoff hunt. It's probably pretty brutal, Your whole life is being uprooted. You have family, you have to move them. You're going to be on the team for the next 2 to 3 years. But the offseason hit and Mike Brown came in, and it just, I'm like, I can see the change in Sabonis,
right. Yeah.
He's just like, this is it. And these two are they're going to be hoisting a trophy at some point. Yep. I don't know when it'll be, but it's going to happen.
So let's get to it. If you have not checked the standings, you don't know anything. Number 1 is Denver. Number 2 is Memphis. There was a time the Kings were in the number 2 spot. They were trying to take advantage when John Morant was in the 8-game suspension, but now they've dropped down to 3. Memphis is a really good team. Yeah, they haven't won it all, but they act like they've won it all kind of deal.
So annoying.
So this is going to be interesting because now we talk about who's it going to be, but we know that after the 4 seed, there's this log jam, and it could be either Golden State, Minnesota, or the LA Clippers. I'll group those three together. So you tell me, like as a fan, what would you like to see in that first round? Because it looks pretty clear, unless there's a big shakeup, that the Kings are going to fall in that number 3 spot.
Yeah, we're pretty locked into the 3. We're like, I think, a game and a half with that Grizzlies loss back of the 2 seed. But I would want the Kings to face, I believe, the Timberwolves. Although it's scary because the Timberwolves play us really, really well.
Tough matchup.
Only reason I say the Timberwolves is because of the inexperience. That's the only reason. The Golden State Warriors are the Golden State Warriors. They've won 4 titles. Like I said, that road record I do believe means something, but who's to say they can't get at least one of those games on the road in Sacramento?
Yep.
It's just right down the freeway. It's like there will be a lot of Warriors fans. So that's scary. I think the Wolves are very physical, and the Kings will have to really game plan. But I think we are better. We shot 4 of 25 from 3 against
it was their
the other night.
worst performance.
Lost by 4 points. If we hit 2 more threes, we win the game. So I don't think we're that gonna shoot bad like that in the playoffs. But yeah, and then the Clippers, I think I would feel okay against the Clippers. We beat them only by 1 a couple times, those incredible games we had against them. But yeah, I just don't really trust Russell Westbrook in the playoffs. You know, PG and Kawhi are hurt all the time. Look, it's going to be a dogfight no matter who it is. I think that's the thing that people will have to understand. We will want more. We will want everything. Yes. I will want us to go all the way. Don't get me wrong. But who knows what's going to happen. It's going to be quite crazy, but we get home court, and we deserve home court for all the hard work we've done this year. And who's to say we won't just come out and win those first 2 games at home, get a game on the road? You know, I think we'll move on to the second round.
Yeah, another big thing, too, is don't forget the Kings were the number 1 offense in the NBA. They are the number 1 offense in the NBA. So that's really made it exciting as well. So I'll tell you my order. My order, the heart says I would take the Clippers out of those 3, then the T-Wolves and the Warriors. But then there's a part of me saying, wouldn't it be great if we played the Warriors, knocked them out, and carried that momentum into the next round? I would love nothing more because, listen, because of this drought, what have we had to deal with? We've had to deal with Warrior fans like crazy, you know? Titles. It's just kind of been that run. So, man, this is going to be exciting. Tonight was exciting again. The Kings clinch. When you hear this on Friday, you know, it'll be 2 days in the books, and then the Kings will probably be resting players and really getting themselves ready for what's going to be an exciting playoff run. And I'm excited to see what happens at Golden One Center.
Hey, man, you know, maybe if they didn't let you go, they wouldn't have had such a long drought. So happy it's come back around for the Kings. We are all giddy.
I called it the Buzzard curse when I left in. Well, they made it 2 years after I left. I left in 2004. But just to hit on that, because your quote to me that stuck with me was, Dad, I was 8 years old when they made the playoffs before. So, like, what do you remember? I'm curious because you got to go back a little bit. For you would be like 4 or 5 years old when those heyday, like the Weber and the Divots and those days were going on.
Yes, I remember those moments at Grandma Sherman's with the cousins, and I remember the Robert Horry shot. I do. Yep. Heartbreaking. I remember Kevin Martin had a game-winning layup, I believe, against the Spurs. I believe that was 06 because we lost to them in 6 games.
Right.
But I remember that moment, and me, my cousin Zach, and Toph recreated that Kevin Martin layup out in the backyard on our hoop. Like, you know, that was truly the first sports moments that I remember. It's incredible. But yeah, also while we were watching tonight, I just, you know, a huge shout out to Jason Ross.
Yeah, Jason Ross.
Friend of the podcast.
Yep, absolutely.
I had so many memories growing up with going to the 1140 studio with, you know, my dad and Jason and Jason playing football in the hallway with me and my brother. It's like these are special moments, you know. I think it's so hard to really like grasp. Like, yeah, it's a sport, right? It's basketball. They're, you know, shooting a ball into a hoop, but like it's about the city, the people that have been there, the people that are now fans. My cousin Jake is 17 years old. His whole life,
that's crazy. He's
never seen the Kings in the playoffs.
Wow.
And now he gets to experience it. You know, it's like these are huge things. So it's just so exciting.
Yeah.
I can't believe it.
That's the beauty of sports. It's the beauty of sports. And yeah, I had a lot of great memories, and I've talked about that in another podcast episode that you can check out. Let's see, we've interviewed Jason Ross, we've interviewed Scott Moak, we've interviewed Gary Gerald, we've interviewed Katie Kristen Hunter. So I mean, you can check all those out when we talk Kings, but this is just a moment. We love this. And I have expressed the fact that, you know, yes, I'm a fan, but I'm also 53. So it's a little different for me. But what has elevated my fanship, whether it be with the Oakland A's, right, or the Sacramento Kings, has been because of this guy and my older son, Toph. And that's the beauty of it. And so for those of you fathers, mothers that have kids, this is the fun part.
Yeah, I'm gonna give Toph a real big hug when I see him.
That'll be nice.
Crazy moment.
All right. Well, hey, go Kings. Light the beam. I mean, okay. There's the other one. Light the beam has been amazing.
So cool.
Tonight in Portland, like they've done so many times on the road when they've got wins, you hear the chant, light the beam.
Yeah, and Mike Brown hates the chant coming early. Like sometimes it's like a 10-point game with 5 minutes and people are chanting, but we were up by about 35 with 4 minutes left, and he was like, yeah, I love to hear that tonight. That was so necessary. The beam has taken over.
It has.
It's so awesome.
We love the beam. So all good vibes. Kings, congratulations on just ending the drought, and obviously the best of luck in the playoffs. Like I said, as of tonight, it's a victory. So whatever happens from here, I think will be incredible. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk more banter, because we're going to switch gears because, well, by the time you hear this episode, it'll already be a couple days in. Opening day. That's right. Baseball is back, but yeah, we'll talk about our Oakland A's. So don't go anywhere. You're listening to Experience the Buzz. He's Max Buzzard. I'm Steve Buzzard. We'll be back right after this. All right, segment 1 in the books. Hope you enjoyed that conversation surrounding the Sacramento Kings. So fun. Yes, it is now time to thank our big three. Here they are, R5 Stitch and Print, along with Pit Boss Jerky and Little Whale Swim School. R5 Stitch and Print, the proud leader is Troy Rousey. He is featured right here on this program in episode number 25. You can find out all about R5 Stitch and Print at r5print.com. They will take very good care of you. They have done so much for me in accordance with this program and Buzzard Ball, so I'm very thankful to Troy. So check them out for any needs in screen printing and embroidery, and believe me, there is no limit to what Troy and his staff can do. Also want to thank Pit Boss Jerky, Joe Green, the Pit Boss Master. That's right, he is featured, his story in episode 26. So we went back to back with those two gentlemen. You can order beef jerky by either going on the order board, that number is 916-769-6807, or you can find it in person. That's right, they are now in Amy Hardware, 2 locations in Sacramento, one up in El Dorado Hills, and if you're in the Auburn area, they are at Knee Deep Brewing. They got Knee Deep Brewery. There we go. I said it. And then I just wanted to let you know they got 12 different flavors. Great flavors. Our favorite, of course, is named after the show, Experience the Buzz. If you were to give me a number 2, I'd say Raspberry Apple Chipotle. And then probably after that, I think one that everyone likes is Island Teriyaki. And that's only 3 of the 12. So, you know what? I'll read them off for you. Pepper Garlic, Pit Boss Original, Sweet Summer, Honey Gold, Sweet and Smoky, Little Heat, Urban Smoke, Big Heat, a keto mix, and then the 3 I mentioned. Not bad, okay? Thank you, Joe Green and Pit Boss Jerky. And then finally, Little Whale Swim School. Anya Hall, who is featured right here in episode 6. She runs Little Whale. They are the premier swim school in Sacramento, located at 4106 El Camino Avenue. Look no further than littlewhaleswim.com and check out what they are doing. Let's get back to our conversation. So excited as we continue to talk sports. Next up is baseball. Here we go. All right. And now here we go with sponsor read number 2 on the count. 3, 2, 1. Well, that was sure fun. I get geeked up for baseball. Baseball is it's such a great time of year, and I'm so excited for opening day. And, of course, we got one more segment coming your way. As we do in this segment, we just like to thank our sponsors, Little Whale Swim School. You can check them out at littlewhaleswim.com. They are the premier swim school right here in Sacramento, located at 4106 El Camino Avenue. They have classes for all ages. They specify mostly in younger kids, but there are adult classes as well. And if you're looking for a job this summer, look no further. Again, go to littlewhaleswim.com. Also want to thank Pit Boss Jerky, Joe Green. He has mastered 12 different flavors, including one named right after the show called Experience the Buzz. There's other great favorites like Raspberry Apple Chipotle. There's a keto mix, Island Teriyaki, and then you got Pit Boss Original, along with some other great flavors. How do you get your hands on the beef jerky? Well, I'll tell you what, there are two ways. You can either call 916-769-6807. That's the order board to make your order, or you can find it at Amy Hardware at the 3 locations, 2 in Sacramento, 1 in El Dorado Hills, or you can go to Knee Deep Brewery in Auburn, and it's available there as well. Also want to thank R5 Stitch and Print. Our good friend Troy Rousey does such a great job. R5print.com. He has done a lot of work for the podcast here at Experience the Buzz, and they specialize in screen printing and embroidery and have a graphic designer on hand to help you. So again, that's r5print.com. All right. Thank you, sponsors. So proud that you guys are on board. 2 of the 3 have been on since day 1. And so really the support that they give, you can be a part of it. And if you want to be a part and be a sponsor, it's very simple. Just go to buzzardball.com and you will see a link that will take you to that page and explain everything. And of course, I am available for any questions. But in the meantime, we got to get back to the conversation. We're going to finish it out with the final 4. Good luck if your bracket is still intact, and then it'll be the Masters Golf Tournament, and then we'll call it a day right here on Experience the Buzz.
Like what you hear so far? Make sure you never miss an episode of Experience the Buzz by clicking the subscribe button now. This podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Thank you for your support. It means everything. Now, back to the show.
All right, welcome back. Once again, a big thank you to our sponsors, Pit Boss Jerky, R5 Stitch and Print, and Little Whale Swim School. And of course, don't forget, you can be a sponsor too. This show is about entrepreneurs, small business owners, and personalities. And it's cool because a couple times we've done this, where we get the opportunity to speak. I had a long, beautiful career in broadcasting, working for Sports 1140 KHDK, as we mentioned. Worked for the Sacramento Kings. I was the public address announcer in 1999 and 2000. Did the post-game show, yes, during the years that the Kings lost those heartbreakers to the Los Angeles Lakers, and then cleared my path in 2004. But man, it was a great story career. I loved it, and still good friends with Jason Ross. We talk on the phone a lot and stuff, and obviously we have given the congratulations to him. And then Gary Gerald, too, the long time and the only voice, the only radio voice of the Sacramento Kings. Absolutely crazy. But now we're going to shift gears to baseball.
Yeah.
There's nothing better than opening day, right? There's nothing better than opening day.
Yeah.
And so I won't even start from the Oakland A's standpoint. Let's just start there, because we're going to get up tomorrow morning. We're going to turn on the MLB network, and you're going to have all those those amazing pitching matchups on opening day are just the best.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think they said there's like 9 Cy Young winners going tomorrow or something like that. That's elite right there. So, I mean, yeah, it's exciting. 10:05, I believe, first pitch for Yankees-Giants, I believe, is a matchup.
Isn't that crazy that the Yankees and Giants are an opening day game?
Sorry, Giants. I mean, have fun in New York, Garrett Cole's going to be a little tough for the Giants.
Well, and let's just say this, okay? When we talk about the Bay Area teams, I'm just going to say it's going to be a rough go for both sides of the Bay, okay? Yeah. So don't get too excited. So let's stay, okay, we'll stay on the MLB, and then we'll go A's and stuff. But on the MLB side, of course, the Houston Astros are the defending champions.
That's weird.
You and I, we're on the Padre train. Of course. So much that for our upcoming basketball camp, we do themes, right? So last year we did USA. The year before that, we did
A's.
We did A's. Yeah, we did A's. This year we're we're doing a San Diego Padres theme.
Yeah.
Because
it's good vibes for the summertime.
Vibes, yeah.
I mean, come on.
So, is this the year Bob Melvin is able to raise the trophy?
I would love that.
Yeah.
I would truly love that. Bob, there's no one more deserving in the game of baseball. He has one of the most incredible groups that I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's
be
talented.
Put on a baseball field. And that's thanks to the ownership and general manager. So if there's anyone to do it, it could be Bob. Mm-hmm. And he had, he got them past the Dodgers last year, so we know what he can do in the National League. They had a tough time with the Phillies, but the Padres are
stacked.
incredible. They added Xander Bogaerts.
They're stacked.
They're basically adding Fernando Tatis after 20 more games or something like that.
But isn't it crazy though that he's almost? It's weird. I use this lightly, but he's like almost an afterthought. Like,
yeah, it's wild. But then you're gonna be like, ooh, wow,
right?
And him, Machado, Xander Bogaerts, Juan Soto. It's pretty. It doesn't feel real, for sure. So I'm interested to see how they do.
Okay, so that's just the Padres. Other storylines that you're looking for, in Major League Baseball?
You can't not bring up Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah, just amazing.
It's kind of like a Jokic thing where it's like, what else can he even do to show off his talents? But he's basically playing for a new contract for guaranteed a different team after this season, as he will be a free agent. Very important to follow this year. He could get traded at the deadline, and you know what teams are going to be interested. The Padres, the Dodgers, the Mets, the Yankees. There you go. I mean, I'm sure the Giants will try, but they won't succeed. He's incredible.
Yep.
They won the World Baseball Classic. He's so likable. He's so fun. He just smiling all the time. I feel bad for him and Mike Trout because they'll never experience winning on the Angels. So I pray their ownership says, hey, we should send them off and maybe actually try to win at some point.
Okay, but talk about that, because in the World Baseball Classic, the game ends on Shohei Ohtani striking out his teammate Mike Trout on a 3-2 pitch.
That was wild.
And it was what, a 99 mile per hour like slider?
That was one of the best pitches I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
It's a pitch it's impossible to hit.
Yeah.
There's no way you can hit it. The only thing Trout could have done was looked at it and kept his bat on his shoulder, because it might have been a ball. But Mike Trout's one of the best hitters in the world, and he got outdone by the best pitcher on the face of the planet. So, pretty incredible.
Well, and we laugh at the Angels because they have Trout and
we
Ohtani.
do laugh. You know what,
we
Doug?
do.
We do laugh at the Angels because they're truly a laughing stock.
Because they still don't have pitching.
Because the A's, what do the A's get made fun of? No money, never keeping their players,
Here we go.
always trading their players. The Angels have billions of dollars. They have the two best players in the MLB, and they keep giving money to nobodies. They gave $245 million to Anthony Rendon. He's played about 30 games, folks. They don't pitch. I could pitch for the Angels. So yeah, we make fun of the Angels because they deserve it. Because I understand the heat the A's get, okay? Same thing every year. But the Angels, no, you can't be that bad when you have money. I'm sorry.
All right, so let's, the Philadelphia Phillies were a great story last year on a local front. Rhys Hoskins tears the ACL. He's out for the year. That is tough because he was definitely a part of that framework that they had. Bryce Harper is obviously on the IL for a little bit, and he'll be back, in a couple months and stuff. But the Phillies were a fun team. If it's not the Phillies, who would be that fun team for you that you would like to see go? Because remember, the Phillies went in. They were a wild card. I think they were just above 500, and they get to the World Series.
Man, I mean, outside of the Padres,
Well, which will be a favorite. They're going to be a favorite.
Yeah, I feel like the Cubs could do something this year.
Ooh.
Who'd they get? They got Dansby Swanson.
Yeah.
Which, in my mind, one of the best additions you could get. A guy, he's incredible. I mean, he's a great shortstop. He's a great hitter. He's a professional, like one of those like Jed Lowry type professional hitters that is going to give you a good at-bat every single time. And he seems to really enjoy Chicago. They got a couple good players. I mean, they have David Ross as their coach. I like the Cubbies. The day game stuff makes me giddy.
Yep.
It's fun. It's fun times at Wrigley. So who knows? They could be solid this year.
All right, the train I'm going to jump on: Baltimore Orioles.
There you go.
Yeah, they're a young
I thought
team.
you were sticking NL, so that's why I said
Cubs.
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
Because
Okay.
I just want to say I'm totally on board with the Orioles.
Got it. Yes, I did say
totally
NL.
on board.
So Cubs being the NL team, Baltimore Orioles in the American League. They've kind of got that little feel. Another team that I hope does well, I don't know why, but the Toronto Blue Jays. I feel like there's so much talent there.
Yeah,
but, man, they were a huge letdown last year.
Yeah.
And so it'll be interesting to see if Vladimir Guerrero Jr. actually has an outstanding year.
Stays healthy,
Yeah. So Aaron Judge, 62 home runs last year. Where do you think he falls this year? Can he get even close to that? Because it's interesting when we're drafting our fantasy teams. I took him number 1 in one league, but they've got him projected at 48 or 49.
Yeah, which is so funny.
Yeah,
it's like
he could totally do it again.
Yeah, I think he'll be right there, 45 to 50 range, and that's who he is. His power is so natural and easy. That swing, he just can put the ball out to right field like so easily. It's one of the greatest swings in baseball. So yeah, I think Aaron Judge is in that range. I mean, why not? He could be an MVP guy again, but Shohei's in the AL. So who knows?
All right, hey, we're sticking in the second segment because we're talking baseball, and of course we're going to talk baseball. We've covered the MLB. But we got our team, the Oakland A's, opening day.
Let's go.
Taking on the Angels.
Yeah.
Listen, we understand the reality of the situation, okay? It was a rough year. Last year,
it's not going to be as bad.
It won't be as bad. And I will tell you, Max is more of an optimist than I am. I'll just let you take it away.
It's a bummer what's happening off the field for the A's. Not a lot of traction going on. Just not a lot of news surrounding the A's and where they're going to be playing in the future. When it comes to Oakland or most likely Las Vegas, which is a bummer because the fans don't deserve it, and we get made fun of because there's not many fans, which is just not the truth. Because we've been at playoff games for the A's. We have the best fans. We have some of the best fans in the league. It's truly diehard. But you cannot sit there and tell me that these people need to be going to games when there's an uncertain future, when ticket prices go up for no reason, season tickets go up, we trade every player. Those are things that matter to a fan, okay? So those people are sitting on the couch, and that's fine. I understand that. But on the field this year, this is the only thing that can take away the pain is good baseball. And good baseball this year, if you're improving on last year, it won't take much.
Yeah. Get
me to 70 wins, maybe even at a certain point 3 months into the season, we could think that maybe a wild card spot could be possible. Why not? Okay, I feel like Mark Kotsay is a good guy to have.
I believe that.
Right?
Yep.
Like he's like a player's coach. He knows the game so well. There's nothing to dislike about Kotsay. It's once again when you have to compare someone to Bob Melvin, it's not really fair. So, we have solid guys. We have solid young players. There are dudes that impressed in spring training that I didn't even have on my radar for top prospects. And then you do have the top prospects who are going to make some noise. And those guys will be donning the green and gold this season. It's only a matter of time. There's one player, Esteury Ruiz. He's my guy, okay? He's my guy this year. He stole 85 bases in minor leagues last season. He has good contact. He has sneaky power. The bases in the MLB are bigger this year. Mm-hmm. There's a pitch clock. You can only disengage from the rubber 2 times. If this guy is on base, he can get in a pitcher's mind. He will be stealing bags all the time. MLB is going to be fun this year. It's going to be different. Right. It's going to be a different type of baseball, but something that I think will be very interesting and fun.
Okay, and another rule change too. The shift is done, which I am so glad that the shift is done. So no more of that funny business going on. I like that you mentioned too that I think the pitcher can only pick off a batter or a runner twice.
Yes.
And so that's what they're saying is that the stolen bases are going to go up, and we're going to start seeing these bigger numbers that we haven't seen in a long time. It's hard to believe. It hasn't been that long ago that Ricky Henderson was stealing over 120 bags and breaking the all-time MLB record. So, yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. So I like your optimism. Maybe point out 2 or 3 players that people should look for, because we should mention, once again, players were lost, Sean Murphy being the biggest one, going to the Braves. And then A.J. Puck, who I thought maybe had some, had a chance, but he's now with the Marlins, where he's reunion with Jesus Luzardo.
Yeah, they were former roommates, I believe. So a couple players. I mentioned Ruiz as my sneaky guy, but everyday dudes, Shea Langoliers, he's been given the reins, to say the least, in the biggest way possible. Sean Murphy was traded because we have so much belief in this kid. He has incredible power. He already improved defensively at the end of the season last year, and that was a huge thanks to Sean Murphy. Mm-hmm. That's why Sean Murphy's going to be so great in Atlanta. I mean, he's with Matt Olson again. It's going to be awesome for them in Atlanta. But Shea Langoliers, he's a guy. Ken Waldichuk, he's a lefty, left-handed pitcher. We got him in the Frankie Montas trade. Sucks for Frankie. He's out for the year. Yeah. He had to get Tommy John. That's sad. We miss Frankie. He was incredible for us. But Ken Waldichuk, he went to St. Mary's College down there in Moraga. He knows the Bay Area. The Oakland Coliseum is probably something that will help him out. It's a big ballpark. He's going to be a solid pitcher. We need him to be good this year. We need him to be a 2 or a 3. Okay? Because you're going to find that ace somewhere. I don't know who that is. I don't know who. Because we're just not,
Can you name the opening day starter?
Yeah, Kyle Muller. Kyle Muller is the opening day starter. I don't think he should be, but I think it has to do with where Kotze wants to pitch some other guys. So Muller got the nod. But the last guy I want to talk about, Shintaro Fujinami. He's like 6'10" or something crazy. Yeah. He's from Japan. He was in the same prospect class as Shohei Ohtani, but he's stuck in Japan. He pitched for 10 seasons. He has like a career 3.3 ERA. He has a couple All-Stars there in Japan. He throws gas. He can hit 100. But yeah, this is good. He's a guy that it's just perfect scenario for him. He's in Oakland. He's not going to have all the pressure of big media out there in New York or San Francisco or whatever it is. But I'm genuinely excited to watch him pitch in the big leagues. He has some control issues, but he can strike out a lot of dudes, has a good splitter, like Shohei, honestly. So that'll be fun to see those two go against each other. Shintaro pitches on Saturday, and he will get to face Ohtani as a hitter. And Ohtani pitches tomorrow. So it's pretty cool for the game of baseball.
Good stuff. Yeah. All right, so that'll put a wrap on baseball. We'll take another break, and when we come back, we'll have final segment in which we will highlight the NC2A Final Four, which is taking place this weekend, and we will also talk about the Masters. That's right, coming up next week. So don't go anywhere. This is Experience the Buzz.
Like what you hear so far? Make sure you never miss an episode of Experience the Buzz by clicking the subscribe button now. This podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Thank you for your support. It means everything. Now, back to the show.
Welcome back. Experience Buzz, Steve Buzzard, Max Buzzard. A little banter for you. Been a fun episode because we've got to talk Sacramento Kings, who make the playoffs for the first time in 16 years. So now they're off the top of the list, and now it's the New York Jets, who have not been in the playoffs, and they'll probably have Aaron Rodgers, so hopefully that will go away. And I think the next team was like, what, the Buffalo Sabres or something like that? Yeah, right. In hockey. But, man, that's kind of nice to be off that list, right? You don't want to be on that list.
No.
And so that ended tonight, and then, Major League Baseball opening day.
The Mariners ended theirs 17 years last year.
That's right.
So
okay.
Good year.
Yeah, good stuff. Okay, so the last two things we have to talk about is this weekend, if your pool isn't blown up already, which it probably is the NCAA Final Four. Now, Sacramento was able to host. That was a huge success because Princeton was the darling of the weekend as they pulled off a couple of upsets. But, I'll let you give the matchups if anybody forgot out there. What do we got? What do we got, Max?
San Diego State against FAU. And Miami against UConn.
Okay, so we believe UConn is the favorite. They're the number 4 seed. They're the highest seed. Yeah. All the rest are surprises. The biggest being Florida Atlantic. Miami coming in as the 5 seed. San Diego State the same. Okay, so if you're a California person, you're probably rooting for San Diego State. Is there anybody you want to see win? Do you care?
I don't care.
Is that weird?
You have to really love basketball to really...
And so here...
And I do.
And is that because your bracket was busted, or is this truly about, I don't really care?
Well, I think that's the thing about the March Madness that is the killer.
I think so, too.
If this is the outcome,
right,
then it's kind of like, well, I don't care.
I don't care either.
I think I watched the most San Diego State games during the tournament and was very impressed by them.
Okay. They're a good story.
So they'll win it all.
Okay.
San Diego State is going to be Miami in the title.
Okay, sure. And I'll agree with you. So with that said, since we're going to tie a bow on this and we, pretty much don't care, let's talk about March Madness because you had an opportunity to win some big money and I actually won. I'll let you tell your story first because I know you know it well.
Yeah, I was really young. And it was the Sports 1140, Jason Ross.
Which is still going, by the way.
Bracket Frenzy.
Uh-huh.
And I had an entry, and it was, I think, UCLA and Memphis. I believe that was the title, right? The championship. Mm-hmm. And Memphis won. It was Derrick Rose, I want to say.
Okay.
But if UCLA would have won, I would have gotten $1,600. As I think I was 7 or 8. We lived at Las Cruces. I was really young.
But I thought it was because you didn't win any money, right?
No, I got none.
Okay, so I think it actually happened the round before. For some reason,
the Final Four?
No, because what I remember is Michigan State. I don't know why I remember Michigan State, but it was that scenario where you needed a team to win just that one game to get to the Final Four or maybe the championship.
I think it was UCLA.
Yeah, UCLA. Okay, wow. That was tough. I felt bad. So what I would do is I would just, pay for my boys and let them fill it out. Didn't matter how young they were. And I didn't take a cut. I wasn't going to take a cut. I was going to let them have it all. And I actually have won, but I've only won once. And the time I won was actually kind of cool. It was in 1993. North Carolina beats Michigan. Chris Webber with the timeout.
Oh, that's wild.
That's when I won. That's the only time I won.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
I remember I was at TGI Fridays, and Jim and Lisa had just come back from Chile, and we went out to dinner, and the game was on, and I won. But it wasn't as much money as the winner takes home now, because it's big. So, and I'll leave that at that, okay? So, Final Four in the books, and then we want to finish off with the Masters, okay? This is, even if you're not a fan of golf, watching the Masters, there's something very special. We can all agree with that. I can throw in there, yes, I've had the opportunity to go. I only got to see a round and a half, but it was cool. 2010, I believe, was the year. And I went with Kevin Sutherland and his family. And that was a lot of fun. I got to follow him around on the first day and then just be on different holes on the second day. And it was everything and then some. But we have the Masters and the favorites. And I'm curious of who you're going to go with, or who do you like?
I mean, Rory, is a good pick always. Yep. He's still one of the best golfers in the world. I like the name Will Zalatoris.
Yeah, he's good.
I know he's very good too.
Yep.
The young guy Matthew Fitzpatrick.
Yep.
I believe he's a stud. We watched him on that one show.
The Full Swing.
Great show.
Okay, and I was just going to say, I recommend Netflix watch the Full Swing series. They have released these different kinds of series, one on golf. There's another one on tennis. I forget that name. And then I think they're going to be releasing some more with different sports where they follow. And it's intense. It's great. And you'll get to know these players a lot better. Like a lot of the names I didn't know was a lot of fun. And then Jordan Spieth and Justin Thomas, which I know are household names, but getting to know their personality outside of golf is really cool.
Yeah, because, golf's, it's not really a game where you get a lot of insight on them. And it's kind of cool, because it can add a lot to the viewing experience.
Absolutely,
because that's a big problem that people have with watching golf is it's just like too boring, And I get that, but people say the same about baseball. So it's like there's so much to it, and the Masters is just like so amazing. And who's that? Now is it Vern?
Vern Lundquist or Jim Nance?
Yeah, the guy who does the Masters.
It's usually Jim Nance.
But there's a guy named Vern or something.
Well, Vern Lundquist, but I don't think he's doing. I don't know. You'd have to look that up.
But I think that's who I'm thinking of.
Yeah,
honestly.
Jim Nance is usually like the main voice, but I think this might be one of his last years. I heard something about him moving on, and Mike Tirico has done it a couple of times. So there you go. But you're stuck on that Vern. I can tell. You're stuck on that.
Yeah, it's okay.
So here's what I'm going to say. I'm going with Scotty Scheffler. Okay, this guy has been lights out this year. Just plays great golf, and man, that just has a great attitude. Man, I just love it. So he's very humble. So I'm going to go with Scheffler, and then, you said, I don't mind if a Rory or a Justin Thomas or a Jordan Spieth or a Cam Smith.
I'm going with Rory.
You're going with Rory because they're all likable guys. There's not really any of those guys on the tour that you're like, yeah, I don't want to see them win. So
I don't want a live golf guy to win.
Yeah, we don't want that.
Could you imagine Phil wins or something?
No, Phil won't win. So you don't have to worry about that. It's going to be one of those that we kind of mentioned up top. So that's going to put a wrap on what has been a lot of fun. Again, talking Kings, talking baseball, talking golf, talking NCAA Final Four. Love talking sports, and it's fun to be able to do it with my son here, Max. On a future episode, we're going to find a way to sneak in Toph here. He's living the family life, and so, he's got to go to sleep. We're recording this pretty late, so we look forward to this one kicking off the month of April, though it'll be at the end of March when it comes out. So March, April, getting into spring, and it's just a good time of the year for sports. Final thoughts, Max.
Yeah, light the beam, baby. We deserve it. We deserve to celebrate. But what's cool is that we don't have to worry about the preparation for playoffs. But Mike Brown and the boys want more. So we could be celebrating a lot more this year, you guys. Let's soak this in. Seriously. It's going to be amazing.
It's going to be a fun run. Okay, we'll be back, or I'll be back with a final word. Don't go anywhere. Well, there you have it. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. So fun to be able to do this podcast. And I want to thank each and every one of you. I know I do that, but you know what? You can't overlook something like that. Tonight the Sacramento Kings did something special. And whether you're a Kings fan or not, it did something because of the city, right? And that's what I want to speak to, because that is what this program is about. I want to highlight, I want to spotlight, I want to bring stories to the forefront of the great people that are right here in Sacramento. Now, my son's great, so he definitely should be on this show. And yeah, we just talked a little bit of sports, but as you know, this show will do interviews spotlighting all these people that I'm talking to you about. Like I said in one of the breaks, go back and check out the archives of people we have already talked to. And just know there's more to come, because this train ain't stopping, and I'm enjoying every single minute of it. I love Sacramento. I love that you're a listener. And if you would like to subscribe, we would greatly appreciate that. It is free. There's no cost to that. You just click the button. And from there, what it will do is will alert you to new episodes that are coming out. We try to stay very consistent with releasing every Friday. So that's all I got for now. Talk to you next time. Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you for joining Steve this week on Experience the Buzz. Steve would love to hear from you. Leave a review or contact Steve directly with any questions at scbuzzard@gmail.com. To see the other adventures of Steve Buzzard, be sure to visit buzzardball.com.